An Astronaut's Guide to Life on Earth by Chris Hadfield.
長かったん
An
だ。
Astronaut's Guide to
300万
Life on
円。
Earth
こ
Summary.
の車
The book in
300万
three
円したの。
sentences. Things are never as bad or as good as they seem at the
これで
time.
300万円
Success is feeling good
ちょっと
about the
高い
work you
よ
do throughout the
そんな
long,
対価ないよ
unheralded journey.
やめといた方がよ
Fear
かったん
comes
じゃ
from
な
not
い
knowing what to expect and not
うるせえ
feeling you have any control over what's about to
もう
happen.
買っちゃったん
When
だ
you
しょう
feel
がないんだ
helpless, you're far
俺
more
これ
afraid
乗
than
るん
you
だ
would be
よ
if you knew the facts.
あ
If
ヒデを
you're
守ってる
not sure what to be alarmed
ヒデが
about, everything is
シーシャ守
alarming.
ってる
The 5 big ideas. In order to
ヒデを
stay calm in a high
ヒデ
stress,
頑張れ
high stakes
ヒデを
situation,
頑張れ
all you really need
ヒ
is
デ頑張
knowledge.
れちょっと汚れ
Feeling
てる
ready
ぞ
to do something
ヒデ
doesn't
よ
mean feeling
頑張って
certain you will succeed.
頑張って
Truly
車が
being ready
車が
means understanding what could go wrong and having a plan to deal with it. Anticipating
どうだった
problems and figuring out how to solve them is actually the
あ
opposite of worrying. It's
これは廃
productive.
車だ
Optimism and confidence comes not from visualizing
ヒデよ
victory,
ヒデ
but from
よ来た
visualizing defeat and
ヒデ戻って
figuring
き
out
た
how to
かわ
prevent
い
it.
そう
If you're striving for excellence,
かわいそう
whether
買った
it's in
ばかりの
playing the guitar
車
or flying a jet,
汚れちゃ
there's
っ
no
た
such thing as over preparation.
かわい
It's
そ
your
う
best chance of
でも
improving
まだ
your
大
odds.
丈夫なと
An
こがほら
Astronaut's Guide to Life on
タ
Earth
イヤの
Summary.
とこまだ
What
大
I
丈
do
夫
each day
タイヤの
determines
と
the
ころ
kind of person
ヒ
I'll
デよ
become.
よかったタ
My
イヤのと
attitude
こは
was
平気
more,
だ
it's probably not going to
あ
happen, but I should do things that
自
keep
分
me
で
moving in the
自
right
分でよく
direction,
こ
just
れ
in
ちょっとこれ
case, and I
これ
should
は
be
これで
sure
お
those
しゃ
things interest me,
れ
so
な
that
のか
whatever
なあこっち
happens,
側大丈
I'm
夫じゃん
happy,
こ
as
っ
I
ち
have
側大丈夫
discovered
だ
again and again,
よ
things
かっ
are
たねヒ
never
デ
as
よ
bad or as good as they seem at the time. An astronaut is someone who's
かわい
able to
そう
make good
なん
decisions
かかわい
quickly,
そうに
with
なっちゃった
incomplete
あ
information, when the
あやけになっ
consequences
ちゃっ
really
た
matter. It sounds strange,
ねえねえ
probably, but having a
僕って飛
pessimistic
べるん
view
だ
of
よ
my own prospects helped me
嘘は
love
つ
my
かない方
job.
がいいよ
However, success,
あ
to me,
嘘じゃ
never
ないか
was
ら
and still isn't
やめろ
about
よ
lifting off in a rocket, though that sure felt like a great achievement. Success is feeling good about the work you do throughout the long, unheralded journey that may or may not wind up at the launch pad. Ultimately, I don't determine whether I arrive at the desired professional destination. Too many variables are out of
う
my
わー
control.
飛んでる
There's really just
飛
one
んで
thing I
る
can
飛んでる
control, my attitude during the journey,
あ
which is what keeps me feeling
本当に飛んで
steady
る
and stable, and what keeps me
う
headed in the
わ
right
ー
direction.
動けな
So
い
I
なん
consciously
だここ
monitor and
は
correct,
助けてくれ
if
助けてくれ
necessary, because
なん
losing
かエ
attitude
イリ
would
アン
be
に襲
far
われ
worse
てる
than
んだ
not achieving my
助
goal.
けて
Be ready.
誰か
Work hard
助けて
and
く
do
れ
it. It fits every situation. I never stopped getting
あい
ready,
つ
just in
嘘じゃない
case.
から
In my
ちょっと見
experience,
てて
fear comes from not knowing what to
水の呼
expect and
吸
not feeling you have any
5の
control
か
over
な
what's about to
ごめん
happen.
ちょっと
When you
水の
feel
呼吸は
helpless,
練
you're
習不
far
足
more
だった
afraid
か
than
もし
you
れ
would
ない
be if you knew the
違
facts.
うので
If you're
やら
not
せてほ
sure
しい
what
な
to be alarmed
今で
about,
きるのはね
everything is
なんで
alarming.
炎の呼
Knowledge
吸が
and
できるかな
experience have made it possible for me
炎
to
の
be
呼吸
relatively comfortable with
炎
heights,
か
whether
な
I'm flying a
バ
biplane
ー
or
ベキュ
doing a
ー
spacewalk or jumping into a
あち
mountain
あ
of
ちあちあ
corn.
ち
In
あ
each
ちゃ
case,
あ
I
ちゃ
fully
あちゃ
understand the
あちゃあちゃ
challenge, the
あ
physics, the
まあ
mechanics, and I know
こんな
from
感じよ
personal experience that I'm not
こんな感
helpless.
じなんだけ
I
ど
do have some
どうだっ
control.
た
But in order to
え
stay calm in a high
果
stress,
物
high
の呼
stakes
吸
situation, all you really
果
need is
物の
knowledge.
呼吸
Feeling
果
ready to
物
do
の呼
something
吸
doesn't mean
果
feeling
物の
certain
呼
you'll
吸
succeed, though of course
果
that's what
物
you're
の呼
hoping to
吸
do. Truly
そんな
being
俺っ
ready
て
means
果
understanding
物
what
か
could go wrong, and having a plan to deal with it.
果物
Working the
果物
problem is
果物
NASA speak for
果物
descending one
果物
decision tree
果
after
物
another,
果物
methodically
果
looking
物
for a solution
果物
until you run out of
果物
oxygen.
果物
No one was
果物
moving in a leisurely
果物
fashion,
果物
but the response was one of
果物
focused curiosity,
果物
as though we were dealing with an abstract puzzle rather than an imminent threat to our survival. Each time you manage to do that, your comfort zone expands a little, so if you ever face that particular problem in real life, you're able to think clearly. To drive that message home, we have what we euphemistically refer to as contingency sims, death sims, actually, which force us to think through our own demise in granular detail, not only how we'd die, but what would happen afterward to our families, colleagues and the space program itself. Rehearsing for catastrophe has made me positive that I have the problem-solving skills to deal with tough situations and come out the other side smiling. Anticipating problems and figuring out how to solve them is actually the opposite of worrying. It's productive. My optimism and confidence come not from feeling I'm luckier than other mortals, and they sure don't come from visualizing victory. They're the result of a lifetime spent visualizing defeat and figuring out how to prevent it. Like most astronauts, I'm pretty sure that I can deal with what life throws at me because I've thought about what to do if things go wrong, as well as right. That's the power of negative thinking. I couldn't afford to be unprepared in any situation where I was going to be evaluated, formally or not. I had to be ready, always. But if you're striving for excellence, whether it's in playing the guitar or flying a jet, there's no such thing as over-preparation. It's your best chance of improving your odds. In any field, it's a plus if you view criticism as potentially helpful advice rather than as a personal attack. During the sim, the flight director or lead astronaut makes notes on major events, and afterward, kicks off the debrief by reviewing the highlights, what went well, what new things were learned, what was already known but needs to be re-emphasized. Then it's a free-for-all. Everyone else dives right in, system by system, to dissect what went wrong or was handled poorly. It's not a public flogging, the goal is to build up collective wisdom. That's one good thing about habitually sweating the small stuff. You learn to be very, very patient. This is why, individually and organizationally, we have the patience to sweat the small stuff even when, actually, especially when, pursuing major goals. We've learned the hardest way possible just how much little things matter. Good leadership means leading the way, not hectoring other people to do things your way. Whining is the antithesis of expeditionary behavior, which is all about rallying the troops around a common goal. When you have some skills but don't fully understand your environment, there is no way you can be a plus one. If you start thinking that only your biggest and shiniest moments count, you're setting yourself up to feel like a failure most of the time. Life is just a lot better if you feel you're having 10 wins a day rather than a win every 10 years or so. Thank you for watching until the end. Follow me.
あ、ちゃんと持ってよかった。秀夫くんなんか